You are sitting still, but your shoulders are up around your ears, your jaw is tight, and you did not notice until just now. You feel worn out, but if you tried to lie down and sleep in this exact moment, your mind would not slow down. Here is the thing. Cortisol does not announce itself. It does not scream. It whispers. And by the time you finally hear it, you have already lost years of energy, mood, and sleep to it. These are the 5 silent signs your cortisol is quietly destroying your life. The 5 whispers most people miss until it is too late. Let's start with what your body is actually doing right now. You have probably been told that this is just how being an adult feels. Just work, just modern life, just getting older. Maybe you have told yourself you are anxious, or that you need more coffee, or that you should push through, sleep in on the weekend, and it will pass. Here is what is tricky about the wrong story. It almost fits. You do have a stressful job. You are getting older. Every one of those explanations lands close enough to reality that you accept it, shift a little, and move on. But none of those stories account for one thing. This feeling is not going away. If you are honest, it has been building for months, maybe years. And the reason it is building has almost nothing to do with the specific job, or the specific weekend, or the specific night of sleep. It has to do with a system in your body that was designed to switch off and has not. That system is called the HPA axis. Hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal. 3 organs in a loop running one job together, deciding how much cortisol to release and when. Cortisol has a bad reputation, but it is not the villain here. Cortisol is one of the reasons you can get out of bed in the morning. It is supposed to peak about 30 to 45 minutes after you wake, hold you steady through the day, and drop off toward evening so you can sleep. A healthy cortisol curve looks like a wave, up in the morning, down at night. Almost every organ in your body runs on the beat of that wave. The problem is what happens when the wave stops behaving like a wave. When modern life keeps the HPA axis switched on for months at a time, the curve starts to flatten. It stops rising properly in the morning. It stops dropping properly at night. It starts leaking cortisol at the wrong hours. And here is the important part. Adrenaline, when it is high, feels like a scream. You know it is happening. Your heart races, your hands shake. You feel it. Cortisol, when it is high, feels like a whisper. It is slow. It is subtle. It builds, and most people do not hear it until the whispers have added up to 5 specific patterns. Let's walk through them. The first whisper is the one most people know, but explain away. You are exhausted. You have been exhausted all day. You finally get into bed, and your mind will not slow down. Your body is tired. Your mind is awake. This is called the wired tired presentation, and it is one of the clearest signs of a cortisol curve that has flipped. Instead of dropping at night, cortisol is climbing right when it should be at its lowest. Research on the diurnal cortisol slope shows this pattern is strongly associated with poor sleep quality, less deep sleep, and immune dysregulation, regardless of how stressed you say you feel. Your body has stopped whispering to itself that the day is over. The second whisper is oddly specific. You fall asleep fine. Then, at some point between 2 and 4 in the morning, your eyes open and you are wide awake, thinking about something small. A work email, a conversation from last week, money, and you cannot get back to sleep for an hour. This is not random. Overnight, if cortisol is elevated, it can wake you in the small hours because it is rising when it should not be. Blood sugar dips overnight. Cortisol rises to correct it. And if that response is too aggressive, you snap awake. If this is happening more than a couple of nights a week, it is a signal worth listening to. The third whisper shows up in your relationships before you notice it in your body. You snap at small things. A slow driver, a tone in a message, your kid asking the same question twice. And afterwards, you feel bad because the reaction was bigger than the trigger. This is the amygdala. It is your brain's threat detector, and it is supposed to be kept in check by your prefrontal cortex, the calmer, more analytical part of your brain. When cortisol has been running high for a long time, the balance shifts. The amygdala gets louder, the prefrontal cortex gets quieter. Small things start to register as bigger threats than they are. You are not becoming a worse person. Your emotional volume knob has been turned up without your permission. The fourth whisper is a specific kind of hunger. It is not really hunger for food. It is a very particular pull, usually around 2 or 3 in the afternoon, towards something salty or sweet, or both. The vending machine call, the instinct to open the fridge and not actually know what you are looking for. Chronic HPA axis activation shifts how your body handles blood sugar and appetite. Elevated cortisol drives cravings for high-calorie, highly palatable foods. This is well documented. It also increases urinary sodium loss, which is one reason chronic stress can produce a genuine salt craving. Your body is not broken. It is making a reasonable request for the specific fuel a stressed system asks for. But the pattern is a whisper worth hearing. Fifth whisper is the strangest one. You push through a big project, or a hard month, or a hard year, and the day it is finally over, you get sick. A cold, a migraine, a stomach thing. You take the vacation you have been looking forward to, and you spend the first 3 days in bed. Dutch researchers actually gave this a name in the early 2000s. They called it leisure sickness. When cortisol has been running high for a long time, it suppresses parts of the immune system. When the pressure suddenly drops, the immune system rebounds, and that rebound is often when you catch what your body was quietly holding off. The whisper here is that you were never actually fine. Your body was just deferring the bill. Notice something about all 5 of these. None of them are dramatic. They are subtle, deniable, easy to explain away one at a time. That is what makes cortisol dysregulation so hard to catch. The system that evolved to protect you from a predator was never designed to whisper at you for years. It was designed to fire hard, once, and then reset. But nothing in a modern day gives it that reset. Notifications ping in a pattern your nervous system reads as a low-grade threat. Your inbox stays open. The lights stay bright long after sunset. You wake up and check your phone before your body has even finished its natural cortisol rise. There is no gap in the day when the system is allowed to fully switch off. The whisper never stops because nothing tells it to. This is education, not medical advice. Several of these signs sound familiar, and they have been going on for a while. It is worth talking to a doctor. Cortisol dysregulation can look like other things, and other things can look like cortisol dysregulation. That said, there are 3 things that show up over and over in the research as ways to help the system quiet back down. The first is the long exhale. The single fastest way to nudge the nervous system out of high gear is to make your exhale longer than your inhale. Not a deep breath in, a long breath out. The vagus nerve, which controls your parasympathetic, your rest and digest branch, is most active during the exhale. When you extend the exhale, you are, in a real physiological sense, pressing the brake pedal. Try breathing in for a count of 4 and out for a count of 6 or 8 for a few rounds. When you feel the whispers turn up, will not fix a chronic pattern, but it interrupts one. The second is sunlight in the first hour after you wake. The cortisol curve is anchored by light. If you get outdoor light in your eyes within the first hour of waking, even on a cloudy day, outdoor light is many times brighter than indoor light. You help the curve rise cleanly in the morning. And a clean rise in the morning tends to produce a cleaner fall at night. 10 minutes outside before your phone. That is the whole thing. It is small, it is free, and it is one of the best supported interventions in circadian research. The third is a runway before sleep. Your body cannot slow from 100 to 0 in 5 minutes. It needs a runway to land. A soft, dim, low input period of about an hour before bed. Lights lower, screens off or dimmed. No fresh input, no fresh problems. This is the window in which cortisol is supposed to be dropping. And if you spend that window scrolling, you are telling your body the day is not over. If you can only pick one of these three, this is the one that moves the needle most for the wired tired sign. Here is what to hold on to. You are not broken. Your body is not malfunctioning. Your nervous system is doing exactly what it was built to do. Respond to a stressful environment by keeping you switched on. The problem is not you. The problem is that a system built for occasional threats is being asked to run in a world that whispers threat at it all day long. When you understand that, the goal stops being fix myself and starts being give this system what it was actually designed for. Light, movement, quiet, rest, real contact with other people. If one of these 5 whispers stood out to you, the wired tired feeling, the small hours wake up, the shorter fuse, the afternoon craving, or the getting sick the moment you stop, tell me in the comments which one you noticed most. And if this helped you make sense of something you had been trying to explain away, a like helps YouTube show this to someone else who has been searching for a real explanation. Next video, I am going to walk through why waking up between 2 and 4 in the morning is one of the loudest quiet signals your body sends you, and what actually helps when it happens. Subscribe so it lands in your feed. Thanks for watching.